Welcome to Right on Track, a songwriting podcast. Thanks to Tone for tuning in. I'm Demi Michelle Schwartz, and I'm thrilled you're joining me on my songwriting journey. So kick back and relax, don't fall flat, and remember, stay right on track. Hello, welcome back to Right on Track. Joining me today is a very special guest I could not be more excited to have on the show for what's going to be a fantastic conversation. So please welcome Amber Nadine. Hey, Amber.
Hey, Demi, what's up? I am so excited. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Of course, it's awesome having you. I cannot wait to chat with you today all about a very important topic, and that is healing and putting ourselves back together after being broken down. And this is really important, not only in the music industry, but in life in general. So I can't wait to explore this with you. But before we do that, please share with the listeners a little about yourself and your songwriting journey.
Yeah. So I've been professionally, well, I guess I shouldn't say professionally. I'm not, I'm me, so I'm kind of chaotic, but I have been performing live shows for the past 7 years. And it kind of just started when I graduated high school and I had this first major breakup. Um, and it was like this pain that I hadn't ever faced before. So I didn't know how to cope with it. And I ended up turning to songwriting to kind of like deal and work through it from the time I was like 12 years old to 16. I had kind of like off and on tried to learn how to play guitar, but it didn't really click until I truly needed it, which was kind of cool. Um, because when I graduated high school and I had that first major breakup, I was just like constantly on my guitar. Like I was writing songs left and right. I think I wrote anywhere from like 60 to 100 songs that first year. And of course, they weren't all good, but they were definitely like good trial runs and just kind of like getting my feet wet. And then I started hearing about other local artists in the area doing, live shows and live performances and like at restaurants and coffee shops and things like that. And I was like, wait a second, you mean I can actually like do this? Like, I don't have to be Taylor Swift to do this. I can do this. So I was very excited. I remember I would like drive around to different restaurants and things like that. And I would just be like, hey, my name's Amber. I'm a local singer songwriter. I'd love to play music for you. And I'd give them like my contact information and all of that. And one thing led to another. And here I am 7 years later, still doing it and truly just loving every minute. I took a lot of songs that I wrote. I think I took about 5 songs that I wrote from that initial first year and put them onto an EP called Frozen Tears. But it was really, really bad. It was just like acoustic guitar and like my completely untrained vocals back then. Um, so listening to it kind of makes me cringe these days, but it was definitely a good starting point for me. And then I ended up following that up with a slightly better yet not the greatest album called New Beginnings, and that had like about 14 songs on it that I had written. And you know, each time that I did that, I was working with someone in the studio, someone who was producing my music, and getting a lot of money from me to produce my music. And because they were the ones in charge, they were kind of like telling me how to do things. And I kind of just like noticed that pattern. So I stopped working with that person and I ended up in the tail end of like 2019, started working with someone else. And it just became very quickly a toxic work environment. I was working all the time, and this person was very like asking me to be, things that I wasn't comfortable being, and asking me to like basically fit into his standard of perfect. And I couldn't meet that standard no matter how hard I tried. And it started to like take the fun out of it musically. So that's kind of just like a short overview, honestly, because now I have moved on from that person. I am producing my own music, and honestly, I feel like I sound like my sound is better than it's ever been. So I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity, and for, God just giving me the strength to go on this journey and trust myself and believe in myself.
Wow, so much that we're definitely going to dig deeper in during the conversation. But just to hit some points that you said before we dive into our quote, I love how you said it's kind of cool how you found songwriting and got through that breakup at the time you needed it. And I think that's awesome because I feel like a lot of us turn to our craft to heal from things and process things. And so it's amazing that you found songwriting and you were able to get into that craft when you needed it most. So that's one thing. Also, it's awesome that you put yourself out there, going to restaurants, going to coffee shops, just saying, "Hey, I'm Amber. I'm a local singer songwriter. Can I play? Here's my contact info." I think the most important thing we need to remember is that people need music and they're so kind and nice to give people opportunities. You have to just like try and put yourself out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it's, like, sometimes fearful of, like, "Oh, they're gonna hate me, they're not gonna want me," but honestly, like, you'll be really surprised at the people who give you opportunities if you just, like, ask for them.
Yeah, and it's funny too, like, anybody that knows me knows that I have, like, never been shy. I've always just been, like, this person that loves to perform, and, I was in, like, community theater when I was a kid, and, it was just, like, everybody would be like, "How can you do that?" God didn't give me nerves. Like, I was not born with nerves. I was just born like, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's go onto this stage and let's have some fun, guys." So no, but yeah, going back to what you said a little bit about, everybody, like, using writing to cope and everything, it's so true, because, ever since I first found that outlet as, like, a processing mechanism for my brain or whatever I'm going through, it has been a huge help for me in life. Um, I couldn't imagine where I would be without that because it just releases something in me that nothing else really does.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think just personally, I'm so grateful for songwriting because if I didn't have it, I don't know what I would have turned to, you know what I mean? Like, it's such, like, a therapeutic coping mechanism that I'm super grateful for this art, and yeah. So, also, shout out to you for not having nerves. I have really bad performance anxiety. So
Aw. Well, I mean, just focus on the fact that you're doing something that you love
yeah.
and don't care what other people think because everybody's going to be a critic at some point. Just let yourself be you and, you know, remember that you're having fun with it and that this is something that you love.
Mhm.
That's what I focus on. I mean, I can't say that I don't have but the further along that I get, like the bigger opportunities that I get, the more kind of like, "Oh my god," I get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's more of an excited nerves than like a scared of what people are gonna think of me nerves.
Completely, that makes total sense. So, let's shift gears into our quote, which is a fantastic one by Tori Amos. So, can you read that?
Yeah. Healing takes courage, and we all have courage, even if we have to dig a little to find it.
What does this mean to you?
When you sent it to me, I was like, "Wow, okay, that just hits. I feel that." Like, I feel that deep in my bones because there has been so much in my life that I've been through that I could have either grown from it and become better from it, or I could have let it destroy me and keep me in one place and keep me from moving forward. And, I face stuff like that every day. There's always something new that is popping up saying, you can't do this. I don't know about you guys, but I have no choice but to either ignore it or tell it to back off because if I ever stopped music, I'd probably die. Like, I'm not saying literally, but emotionally and spiritually, I couldn't imagine it. So, this quote really related a lot to the title track of the EP in my mind called Lilac. Um, I wrote it when I got free of that toxic, environment workship with the last producer that I talked about, and I wrote it basically just explaining how it feels to try and fit yourself into someone else's idea of perfect and how, you know, draining it is and how, like, it just sucks the joy out of you. But at the end of the song, it talks about, I'm not done being all that I can be, and I'm about to bloom like a lilac. So just watch me grow. So I don't know. I just feel like that quote really resonates with everything that I've been through, and I don't, I don't quite know how to better explain it, but I hope that you guys get what I'm trying to say with all of it, so
Yeah, that's perfect. 100%. I love this quote as well. And I think when you're looking at healing from situations that were toxic and left you feeling worthless and all these negative emotions, you need to look at the courage side of it because not only in the music industry with these certain situations we can face with trying to fit someone's standards and being told you can't do more than one genre, which we'll touch on in a bit as well. When you're in these situations, you get into your head and you start doubting yourself. And it's easier to surrender to something like that rather than recognizing I have the ability and the power to set those things aside, heal from it, and grow into who I want to be. It's so difficult sometimes to find that courage when you get beat down again and again and again and again. It just gets harder and harder. But, we've both proven to ourselves and other people no one's going to keep us down. And like finding the courage within ourselves to follow our hearts and do what's right, morally right for us, and heal from these toxic situations, whether in the music industry or in our personal lives. It's always an uphill battle, but it gets us to better places. And your song's beautiful, talking about being a lilac and blooming from all of this. I think that's a beautiful metaphor and image that ties perfectly into all that we're saying.
oh, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. There was something that you said, not gonna hold us back. I forget the phrase now, but when you're listening to this again, I think it's a song title. I think that you need to do it. Not gonna hold us back or not gonna hold us down or something like that. Um, but yeah, no, it's impossible for me to stop. Like, yeah, it gets very, very discouraging, especially when I feel like there are people of high importance that tell me I can't do something. Um, because I'm like, well, wait a minute, this other person's doing it. Why can't I? You know? So, I'm also a very, very like defiant person.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Same.
don't tell me what I can't do.
Right, yeah.
Like, I will show you what I can and can't do.
100%. Completely. And I think talking about, being songwriters and dealing with all the chatter in the music industry and what people are saying, it's really, really important to keep in mind that there are people with good intentions. And what is difficult sometimes is finding the people who are giving you advice and suggestions meeting you where you are in order to help you grow in the way you have to. So if there's someone who's genuinely meeting you where you're at and saying, I see what you're trying to do, I see your personal path because we're on different paths. I see your personal journey, and I think doing this could possibly help you. Maybe talk to this person, do this, do that. Suggestions, not telling you what to do, suggestions. That is completely different from the situations you and I are exploring here with people trying to conform you to their personal beliefs to make you a mini me of them, or projecting what they think onto you to make you a version of yourself that's not you, but benefits them in some way. So it's sometimes difficult to spot the difference and know when people have good intentions and when they're being harmful.
Oh, absolutely. It is difficult, but I don't know. I guess the way that you can figure that out too is like I like to call it, instead of, everybody always calls it um constructive criticism. I
Yeah.
hate that word. I hate that phrase because it's got a negative connotation to it. I prefer friendly feedback. Because, like, that's what I'm always asking for, like, if I'm, because I have a really, I'm in a course for, learning how to produce music, and the people in that community are just insanely positive, insanely kind, and, every time I post asking for, feedback, I'm always like, "Hey, guys, can I have friendly feedback on this, please?" And every time I don't feel like I'm being judged. I don't feel like I'm being told, "You need to do it this way." I am literally getting exactly what you said, which is kind suggestions. So I think that it kind of depends on who you are as a person and what you see, how you take things, like what people say, and like the way they say it, if it comes off as kind and helpful, or if it comes off as like demanding and judgmental.
For sure, absolutely. So I want to explore the whole story you shared with your producer. First of all, I'm so sorry you went through something like that. I am really thankful that I'm working with a producer who sees my vision and supports all the music I create. I'm super hands on in the studio, but not everybody gets that experience, and you're making that even more clear now. But still, you recognize that that was a toxic situation. You got out of it, which was a really good thing. Some people can't get out of those things, but you're able to. So, shout out to you for that. But I think, when you are forced to be quote unquote perfect, which is, first of all, nothing's perfect. Art is art. There's going to be flaws. And honestly, not even flaws, just like the unique differences between people. That's what makes music authentic and original. And transitioning into the whole genre situation, I write multiple genres, you write multiple genres. I've been told to me, don't do that. Don't do that. Why
Yes.
not? I don't understand. Like, I understand that, genre is a way to find a target audience and that stuff. But in today's day and age, especially with streaming services, where every kind of music imaginable is at people's fingertips with a click of a button, basically, people are starting to be more open to more genres. Like when I was younger, I only listened to pop music. Not anymore. Like I listen to country and like some other genres as well. And it's because it's so accessible now. With today's listeners too, I feel like you can expect more than one genre and they like more than one genre. So I feel like people have these old ideas of the music industry, how it was so long ago, and that's not the case anymore. Blending genres is a thing. Multi-genre artists are part of the industry now. And it's really difficult to, not listen to all that chatter sometimes because you're always gonna have people telling you, don't do that, don't do this. But, like going back to authenticity, I believe that it's really important to write songs in the way they need to be written. And if that means it's an up-tempo pop song, cool. If that's a country song, cool. If it's a ballad or a jazzy song, awesome. Like, no one should be able to dictate the kind of music you create. So that's my thoughts on that one.
Yes. I love what you just said. No one should be able to dictate what you create. Just let it flow. Let it get out of you, you know? There are so many people that I know of that are like, okay, I'm a songwriter, so I have to sit down and I have to write every day, even when I'm not inspired. No, that's gonna kill the process. Like, I get it. If you want to write a song, okay, sit down, fiddle around with your guitar a little bit or whatever instrument is your main instrument. See what you can get. You know, if you get a melody, awesome. If you get lyrics, awesome. You're not always going to get an inspiration and you can't force it. You have a I'm very happy for you that you have a producer that works very well with you. That is something I don't think I've ever experienced, honestly. Um, I have worked with at least 4 different producers. No, 5 different producers. And some of them were better than others, I don't wanna, like, crap on them all. But I did notice, like, a reoccurring theme of just, me trying to say, "I wanna do it this way," and them being like, "Well, you can't." And, um I don't know, it felt so controlling to me. I have nothing against, like, you know, men, but every single producer that I have worked with has been, um, a white man, and it's been very, like, misogynistic almost, like, "Well, I am here and you are here, and this is how we're gonna do it." So, um I don't know, I just got sick of feeling like I was under somebody's thumb.
Yeah, so much power in what you said, and I think, just recognizing these situations and getting out of them, whether it's with a producer or any other situation in your own life, because no one deserves to feel small and insignificant, especially while creating music, something so vulnerable. Like I've worked with other producers and it wasn't a bad situation where like they were putting me down or, making me live up to standards. It's just I wasn't getting the quality production I was looking for with like the mix and stuff. So it's more of like a professional musical standpoint. I'm super thankful to be working with my producer now, but it's a rough journey to find that person to really support you and believe in what you're trying to create, no matter what genre. And going back to kind of what I was saying a second ago is because music is so vulnerable, when you're in a situation sharing with a producer or just a group of songwriters for feedback or whoever, just anybody, when you get some kind of personal attack, like that's not just a critique of the music, but like something that's a personal attack on you, that's extremely scarring. Like something coming to mind is when was about to release my debut album, Dear Diary, in 2021 in October. Cannot believe it's been that long. This is wild. But so, like, right before I was about to release it, somebody told me that that album isn't marketable and I shouldn't be writing about the stuff I was writing about. And this is someone who I like respected their opinion of what I was doing. So it was like super scarring and I still remember that to this day. And what I've always said with that album, I started writing songs for that album before I had any intention of releasing music. I wrote those songs because I needed to heal from stuff. And a lot of it, I say that project was a journey of self discovery. A lot of it was talking about my insecurities and these thoughts I have about myself and certain emotions and feelings I went through. So it was deeply personal and like vulnerable. For someone to like, come right out and say that's not marketable and you shouldn't be writing about that kind of stuff. It's like a personal attack on me as a person and what I feel like I need to write about. And so that's an example of, anybody saying something about our art that's not in a professional critique or feedback kind of way, but something that's a personal attack on you as a person is really difficult.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I was over here while you were saying that, just like shaking my head because I'm like, don't you just hate that when somebody whose opinion you value just completely cold and calculated says to you, "Oh, you should not be doing that." Like, that's a stab in the freaking chest right there. I'll be honest, my advice to you with that, honestly, sorry, I know this isn't like an advice podcast, but I'm going there because that's just me. I'm an inspiring kind of person. So, my advice to you with that is to write a song about that person.
Oh, I have?
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear it. I cannot wait to hear it. Yeah, 'cause, like, my boyfriend, he's a local actor in the area. He does, like, independent films and things like that, and him and I actually started a local songwriters round, and we've been bringing a lot of artists together to just, like, showcase their original music, and one of the things that he keeps saying to people when we're, like, talking about the songwriters round is, both me and him being an actor, me being a songwriter, are in the business of vulnerability. Like, we put our deepest and most vulnerable emotions out on the table for everybody to see. And that's, a very, very tough thing to do. And, we are basically putting ourselves out there to be criticized, to be judged, and we're not doing it with the intention of that, but we're doing it to let others know, hey, if you're going through this, you're not alone. You know, this happens to everybody. Happened to me, and you know what? It freaking sucked, but I'm here now. I'm better because of it. I grew from it, and you can too. Don't sit in your pile of crap. Keep growing. Like, let it fertilize you.
Oh, really
I
good,
don't know where I'm going with this
yeah.
metaphor, but no, like, let it fuel you to keep going, and, don't take a second to look back and see the people that are trying to pull you down with them. They're just mad that they don't have that talent too, and or they're hurt because somebody hurt them and told them that they couldn't do what they wanted to do, so they feel the need to turn around and hurt you. Like, it's a vicious circle, and it's not something that you should be succumbing to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point as well. I think that, talking about the quote from earlier, it takes courage to do this, but also, the way I see it too, when somebody intentionally says something to you or does something to tear you down, if you surrender to that, they're winning. Like, you literally just proved them right. And, you and I are, like you said, defiant. Like, I'm not gonna like, I don't know if you know Daya. It says still look pretty. Uh-uh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her. Yes.
Yeah, we're not gonna sit still and look pretty, like,
No.
I think it's really important, especially as female artists as well, to use our voices and, stand our ground and not let anybody try to conform us to anything, and so, yeah, so much during our conversation, super, super inspiring, but before we wrap things up here, I wanna give you a chance to chat about your EP, Lilac, in a little more detail, talking about the creative process behind this, and it's up for an ISSA award too, so, congratulations.
Thank you. Um, uh, Given everything that I have talked to you about so far, I just wanna take a moment to say how not horribly, unbelievably grateful I am that this EP is up for album of the year. I can't believe it, because this is something that I put my heart and soul into, and you know, I created all of it. I mixed it, I mastered it, I produced it, I wrote the songs, I recorded the songs, and this whole project was just like a trial run for me, like a test to see if it was something that I could actually do to produce. Like, I wanted to be able to prove to myself, not to anybody else, because nobody else needs to be proven this. But I wanted to prove to myself that I was capable of producing my own music. And thankfully, I passed that test. And I never would have imagined that it would have gotten nominated for album of the year at International Singer-Songwriters Association. That's just insane. So, if anybody that made that happen is listening, I know a ton of people voted. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I cannot express my gratitude enough. But anyway, yeah, so the EP is a collection of songs that I wrote over various points in my life. The song Lilac I wrote right before deciding that it was going to be the Lilac EP. And um, there's a song on it too called Okay that I wrote for my boyfriend before him and I started dating when we were best friends. And he had a relationship that the other person told him that she would probably never love him. So I kind of just like wrote that song to, inspire him and tell him, hey, everything's one day going to be okay. Never knowing that we would like 2 years later be living together. So this EP is all about growth. Um, you know, inspiring things. There's another song on it called Small Body of Water, talking about my struggle to forgive someone who deeply hurt me. And kind of like talking to myself too and reminding myself not to be angry at that person because I've been in their shoes before too. And I Am Me is actually a song that I wrote after a very similar situation happened to me, someone whose opinion I've truly valued, in the music industry, completely just shot me down and told me that, I wasn't gonna make it in the music industry because my vocals weren't good enough, and also that I needed to pick a genre and stick to that genre. And also that, gosh, I forget what the last thing was. That's good, I guess, since it's negative. I hope I can forget it forever. But it was just the words were a stab, and, I refused to believe this person, and I wrote this song after getting off of the phone with this person, and, it's just talking about how I'm not gonna limit what God has made me to be. God put me here for a purpose, and He's given me this talent, and I'm going to use it to its highest capability. I'm not gonna let any flame die out. Um, there's 5 songs. There's 6 songs on the EP. There's an acoustic version of I Am Me as well because I kinda just wanted to have more of like a pop version as well as a softer version. And each song on the EP represents a full-length album that I have written and ready to be produced. So this is kinda like the teaser. It's to, like, everything that is to come. So nobody else knows that. I haven't really told anybody else that, so
Right on track exclusive.
it is an exclusive. Yeah, so I'm not gonna stop. To conclude everything, I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing. I'm gonna actually run faster than I've ever run before, and we're gonna just see what happens. Keep
Yay.
doing what I love and keep sharing my joy and my experiences with you guys and letting you know that it's okay sometimes to not be okay, but it will one day be okay again.
Perfect. Well, Amber, this is a beautiful project. Congratulations on it. So much inspiration in it. So many incredible things came up as you were talking, forgiving yourself and others, finding ways to heal from these things, believing in yourself. These are all such important topics explored in this project. So, congratulations. And it was an honor having you on the show. Before we go, can you just share one more piece of advice with anyone listening who may be struggling to heal from a situation that knocked them down?
Be patient with yourself. I know for me, when I was, you know, fresh I don't wanna talk about it like it's a breakup, but it is kind of like a breakup. When I was fresh split from my last producer, I felt hopeless, discouraged, like, I don't have a producer now, so what am I gonna do? How am I gonna make music? I guess I can't make music, and I sat and e I don't know how long it was. I feel like it was, like, a year before I got my inspiration back, and some days I would be driving myself nuts because I'd be like, "I just wanna work." Like, that's how I am all the time. I'm like, "I just wanna work. I just wanna get closer to my goals and, keep growing and thriving." And if I to this day, if I get sick or if I just, have a day where I have no energy and I can't do anything and I'm struggling, I'll get mad at myself to be like, "You need to keep working. You need to keep working." No, don't do what I do. Be patient with yourself. Let yourself heal from whatever it is that you're experiencing. And when the time is right, you will pick everything back up again and you will be better than you've ever been before.
Wow. Beautiful, Amber. Thank you so, so much. It was a true honor having you on the show. Please share with everyone where they can find you online and listen to your music.
Thank you so much. It was an honor being on the show with you. Thank you for having me. Um, yeah, so if you guys would like to chat with me or just, follow my musical journey, my website is ambernadine.com, and my Instagram and Facebook pages are at ambernadine1. Please reach out. Let me know how you found me. And I would love to chat with you if you're going through something similar, or if you just want to say hi and connect through music. I'd love that too. So thanks for listening.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again for joining me. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed this very inspiring conversation with Amber Nadine. And of course, until next time,
Stay
stay
right
right
on
on
track.
track.